Coach, happy Matchday -2.
Thank you very much. The best day of the week.
So coming off a little bit of a difficult stretch here after a really hot start to the season.
Yeah.
What were your conversations like with your team inside of the meetings?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of perspective, right? We come into the season, new team, new players, new coach, how does this all blend together and fit in? That the players took on the information as well as they did very early on in preseason, and we were able to get off to a very flying start. I wouldn't say just because the results were there. I think just the cohesiveness in what we were trying to do. I think the information to the players in terms of like the philosophy, expectations, and almost just going through to the nuts and bolts of what we're trying to do. That it all played out the way it did, and the club had a hotter start to 3-game stretch in its history or what have you. I think that's just a byproduct of the work put in, and that's where it starts. You have to work hard. We pride ourselves on doing that, and I think even in times where it's not going our way, we still working hard, we're still committing, we're still working tirelessly to try and get a result. So some games might not go our way, but then there's always a bigger picture and a silver lining, in my opinion, and that's what one thing in this league, it's a long season. You could have a start, go a little cold, but it's all about consistency in getting points and bringing performances. And I think we brought the performances. We just have to have 1 or 2 more points in the bank right now. And again, you look at the log table and you see a conference winner behind you, you see a conference finalist behind you. So that's why I look at perspective, and we're only in match day 8 going into now, and that's the exciting bit. There's so much more to come, and I think there's a lot of twists and turns where this road is going to take us.
So you had a full week of training this week. You won't have a ton of those coming up in May. It'll be a very busy month. But outside of your normal progression of the week with your staff, has there been any other additional areas of focus for this group?
Yeah, I think, we pride ourselves in the development of the player as well as the person. And there's been a lot of and you can see players get challenged in certain ways, and then how that affects you mentally, personally, and then we just try and, as much as we can do in the best of our ability, try and help guys develop still off the field in certain aspects, right? So, and then we have a group of guys that we work in with our development plans, and so, what you see Monday through Friday is quite a lot of it, but then there's so much more behind the scenes, right? There's the video learning tools that we use, there's the cognitive learning tools that we use. So, behind the scenes, there's still a lot of action, a lot of learning taking place, and I think that's the best for coaches and staff just to get involved in, because you connect with the players on a different level. Then it's more personable, it's more, I think it's a little bit of a different setting, and players can be free and open and expressive, and that's what we try and get out of the whole group when we're in together. So to learn more about everybody is a good thing.
So we're heading into a match day against Atlanta United. So let's talk about that opponent a little bit. They also brought in a new head coach this year, Ronnie Dyla, as well as some pretty top talent players like Emmanuel Latelat and Miguel Almiron. Yeah. Can you give me a little bit of insight into what you've seen from that team? And they haven't won a ton of games this year. They've won 2, but they do have the talent.
Yeah, listen, like I said, it's still early, and there's many twists and turns, and their season will come right for sure. There's far too much talent on that team for things not to progress in the way that they need to, that it might take a little bit of time. It just shows you and puts context into our situation. So, but yeah, Miguel Almiron comes back, and he's a danger threat. He's very good in the transition. He's electric both sides of the ball. He's a lot of pace, and he runs a lot. They can hurt you in many ways, to be fair. We're going to have to be at the top of our game to mitigate them for the full 90 minutes, and to try. Where we've been good at is, shots against and shots for, like shots on target and stuff like that. So we just try and find moments to continue learning, because it never stops.
And they're going to come in pretty hungry, just like your side will. Do you have a key or keys to a favorable result this weekend here at home in front of the fans?
Well, that's the thing. You're playing at home, and make the home games count. And whether that's travel for the away team, whether that's the wind, whether that's the weather, whether that's the fan noise, whether that's our intensity and aggression against the ball. So there's a lot of ingredients that we have to put into this sort of cake we're baking, and come game day, can we turn it into the best possible product for us at home. So I think it's about a good start. I think it's about intensity. I think it's about having the ability to be aggressive, not just with the ball but also against the ball. So there's a lot of the things we've been working on, and one of the things that we pride ourselves on, whether that's service from the wide areas or whether that's movement off the ball in behind, or whether it's our progression play through the flanks. So there's a lot that we have to work at, and we feel there's an opportunity to be had because our boys are driving a high standard right now, and we're holding that accountable and we're holding that level. For sure we could just sort of back off a little bit and go off the gas and say, guys, you've been great, it's all good. I think we're pushing, and for sure that creates a lot of tension, and this week in training I felt a lot of tension, which is good. It's healthy competition, it's good positivity in terms of what we're trying to do and right the wrongs from last week. So yeah, I think it starts with us and ends with us.
That being said, I'm excited for Saturday night. Thanks for the insight, Coach.
Thank you. Take care.